Welcome back again, everyone, for another episode of Kanen's Cadence, the show where I talk about my interests, hobbies, and experiences at my own pace with my own rhythm. And speaking of my rhythm, I have actually still, after my trip from Disney, been off my regular recording rhythm, given that this is the second week in a row that I'm not recording on a Thursday. I know that there is no reason for me to need to record on Thursday. It's literally just been routine for me for the last few months as long as I've been doing the show. And now this both the 17th and 18th episode that I've put out, um, recording on a Sunday because of reasons. The first time I had better reason in that I was literally away from home, couldn't do any recording at all when I was on my vacation. And the day that I came back was my birthday, so I was like, I'll just record on Sunday. It makes it easier. This week was a combination of a couple of things. One, just getting myself back into my regular routine, my weekly routine back at work, and just whatever I do at home. Um, Couple other things, as well as just being lazy. Honestly, like Thursday rolled around. Um, I had just a couple things that I was doing on Thursday, but I when I woke up that day, no work and whatever, I just wanted to do nothing. Like honestly, just being perfectly real, I wanted to just be lazy that day. Um, I went to dinner with my friend Ashley. That was a fantastic time, and was gifted a new water bottle with the show's name cricketed onto it. So thanks again, Ashley, for that. It makes me feel like I'm gonna not be too long from having some actual branded merch for this thing that I'm not even monetizing at this point. But anyway, like went to dinner on Thursday, but beyond that, I really didn't want to do anything there. And I also just didn't have any idea of what I wanted to talk about on Thursday. So I was like, yeah, let me give myself a couple more days and I'll make sure that I'm recorded and uploaded by Monday as is usual. Given that it's Sunday, though, Sunday the 25th, actually, time of recording again of January, I am watching right outside my window as we are being pelted by a lot of snow. Like a lot of snow. Like this is like it's been something that we've been anticipating for the last like week or two, I think. Just knowing that we were going to get a lot of snow over the weekend. But my goodness, yeah, it's coming down and it's coming down like really, really heavy. And for me, it's great just because given that I am snowed into my house, didn't end up having work today. So able to just take it easy, watch the snow fall, and wait for the inevitable time later today when I have to go outside and start snow blowing. But at the very least, I didn't have to worry about driving anywhere that much. I didn't really want to have to do. But yeah, I hope everyone's staying warm, staying off the roads if possible. I'm pretty sure on out on Long Island here, there's like a state of emergency anyway, saying don't go on the road unless you have to. Is the thing. The snow is that heavy. And yeah, just enjoy the day as much as you're able to with this really nice but really annoying after the fact snowfall that's coming down. Anyway, rambling on for the first 3 minutes here, what do I want to talk about today? Well, I don't know if it's a combination of me being just having this as a new interest or if it's just me being hungry, even though I literally just got done having breakfast at the time that I'm recording this. I want to talk about food. Specifically, I want to talk about cooking, my experiences with cooking over the last few years. Only the last few years. I want to say maybe 3 upward to 4 years tops, as we're into 2026 at this point now. I can't remember when I started getting into this, just in general, but as long as I've remembered, food has always been like an important thing for me, like beyond just like the necessity of it, like just growing up in the household that I've grown up in with Caribbean family members or like just West Indian family members who make really really good food as long as I can remember. I've always loved food and I've always been kind of enamored with the ways that we go into like preparing this type of stuff and just the types of things that you can do with it. Like cooking is an art, the same way that, well, like drawing, painting, performing music, just like anything creative, it's an art. Like you can be really, really skillful with it. You can do some really creative things, and I've been really, really interested in that the last few years. So me going all the way back as far as I can remember, what at the very least to when I started like taking control of my own like means of maneuvering around a kitchen and whatever. I for the longest time would refer to myself as a person who cannot cook. I would say like I am awful. I will never be able to cook. I There is just no way that I can do the stuff that other people do. And that was never like actually the case. Like the way that I put it nowadays, I'm just like the reason that I couldn't cook back then is because I never tried. Just being perfectly real, I never tried and I never felt like actually putting in that effort to like do something different. I was so wrapped up in like my mundane, like, okay, well, I want to just chill out at home. I want to like watch like YouTube videos or whatever, like play some video games. Like that was like the bulk of my teens and then my early 20s. Largely still a lot of what I do now, but I, especially as I'm getting older, I'm trying to branch out and do things that are different and just more exciting, like keeping the variety up and like doing things that might interest me outside of what is familiar and mundane because I'm really getting tired of the mundane. So for me a few years ago, part of that was, hey, I really want to start cooking. I can attribute a lot of that to a few people in my family in particular. Usually the first one that I look towards when it comes to the cooking side of things would be my grandma, rest her soul. When I was young, she would every Sunday, as many Sundays as she could, she would cook dinner for me and my like a lot of it for her so that she could have food for the next few days. But she would set food for myself, my brother, my sister if she ever wanted it. She usually didn't have the same sorts of things that my grandma would make, and that was fine. But my grandma's food would usually consist of a few different key things. Like one of the main things was rice that she would make. These rice and peas, always fantastic. And then there would be vegetables and some sort of protein like that would rotate around. Some of my favorites that I remember her making was it would be stewed chicken or stewed beef. She would make pork chops here and there, which were phenomenal. I really wish I knew the way that she did those. Sometimes she would do spare ribs. Sometimes she would do fish, which I wasn't too big on, but like the way that she made it, it was still really, really good. And like just maybe some like baked chicken or something like that. Just a few of the staples there. And I remember when I was young, she would always, for me, she would set two separate bowls as sides for me. Like usually it would be a bowl of salad that I could be free to put whatever dressing. Usually it was either French dressing, Italian, or if she happened to buy it, ranch, which was my favorite. And she would set me aside like a bowl of like chopped cucumber as well. And that, as I'm looking back, my goodness, I haven't had that in a long time, but I might have to get back on that because that, it was so good. Um, but yeah, so as I got older, a lot of the stuff that she would make, I would really try to like just remember it. And then, especially once she was nearing the end of her life and she wasn't in the kitchen anymore, she was mostly in bed. I really tried to focus on the things that she used to make because I was like, eventually, when I start doing stuff in the kitchen, I want to be able to make those same things. So, like, maybe not the exact same way that she did, but kind of like in her honor and whatever. Just like, I want to be able to keep the legacy going, like, make these things and be able to hopefully keep them going into the remainder of my life. So she was one. And then in my adult life, both of my older siblings are the other two that I would really, really look towards in terms of like just inspiration when it comes to cooking. My sister always, I would always see her in the kitchen, like prepping just whatever came to her mind, whatever she wanted to make. A lot of it was like pasta for a while, like pasta dishes. Like she would do a lot of like Japanese stuff as she again like lives in Japan now. There was a lot of like Japanese cuisine and like Asian cuisine just in general that she would be prepping, and that was always it was always cool getting to see her do that type of stuff. Whether or not she let me sample the stuff, that's a different story. But when she did, usually it would be really, really good. I do remember one one experiment that she had, and like this is a story that we'll go back to every now and then. A few years ago, when she still lived out here on Long Island, she got a slow cooker and decided that she wanted to make slow cooked buffalo chicken. She was telling me, she was like, I'm going to be making buffalo chicken, like shredded chicken, and I'm going to just prep it the way that I want to, and I'm going to get some chips, and you are going to be able to sample some because it's going to be great. And to jump the gun on that story, what she didn't realize was that the ranch packets, the ranch seasoning packets that she had gotten in Hidden Valley, there was a lot, I think it was those at the very least, there was a lot of salt in those packets to the point where she probably only needed to use one, but I think that she used two, maybe three of those. So after like the hours and hours of slow cooking, I remember she was like, "Oh, buffalo chicken's done." We both sample it, and we're just like, "Why is this so salty?" Like it felt like it was going to like dehydrate us from the inside out. It was so salty. It tasted great beyond that. But I remember like she kind of she looked upon that, at the very least from what I remember, she looked upon that as like kind of like a failed experiment because of just the amount of sodium that ended up going into the thing, and like it did become kind of difficult to eat, especially since she got like a bag of like Tostitos chips to go alongside it, and those chips are also incredibly salty. So it was just like it felt like 90% salt, then like a little bit of chicken afterwards. So that was an experiment. It was like a fun thing in my mind because I still thought that it tasted really good. It's just like, my goodness, like dial it back on the salt and it would have been perfect. So there's her, and then my older brother, as long as he's been living away from home, which is the last several years at this point, he's got a place of his own over by him. Like he's really stepped up his game when it comes to cooking. Like he does like almost nothing but cook the food that he eats. Like he'll eat out here and there, but like most of the time he's going to be making everything himself. And I've had some of the things that he's made, and my goodness, like been really, really good. I remember like he made these like breakfast like crunch wrap supremes like off of like the Taco Bell menu, but since it wasn't from Taco Bell and it was homemade, it was infinitely better. Um, Among other things like these oh my gosh, these Guyanese beef patties that we have been familiar with for years. Like he started making his own versions of those like a couple of years ago, maybe like a year or two ago, something like that, and those were like a huge hit in my house because I love those things already. And again, having them homemade by someone who I'm related to was again like that was great. And like he really has like inspired me to like start messing around with my own stuff at home and just making sure that I take the time to actually do it, learn how to do the techniques and whatever that go into cooking whatever I'm cooking, and just have fun with it. Like don't be afraid. For me, I'm just like I come from a again like a West Indian household, like I said. My stuff's got to have seasoning. It's got to have seasoning, and if there's any, like if people who know me know that my stuff is also going to have spice. Most of the time, I'm not going to shy away from stuff being spicy. I welcome it. Sometimes I will ask for stuff to be a little spicier because, again, I welcome it. So that anything that I make is going to have like seasoning, and it's probably going to have like at least a little bit of heat to it. And for me, it probably feels like a little bit. For a lot of people who try it, they're just like, "Why is this food so spicy?" I'm just like, "Oh, you got to just suck it up and deal with it." Is the thing. Learn to enhance your taste buds because you're missing out on the flavor that is found in spicy stuff. Anyway, so one of the main reasons for me why I want to start getting more into cooking my own stuff is because of it's financial stuff. Like I end up, I for a while didn't realize until I actually started taking note of it how much money I spend on, or I can spend and have spent on takeout just in general. Like if I were to add up everything that I've bought, and I did this some time ago. Like I thought of like every bit of takeout that I bought, whether it was fast food, breakfast, sit down, whatever it was. If I was lazy enough, like even like DoorDash, which I really try not to do, sat down, added up the total for like 1 month last year, how much I spent, and because that number was in the hundreds, like exceeding some of my bills that I have, I was like, wow, yeah, that's got to change. Like that's got to change. And that was only across like a couple, like maybe not a couple, but like I want to say like maybe like 7 or 8 times that month buying takeout. And as I even say that out loud, that just sounds like too many. I don't know if it's just me, but like it sounds like too many. Like there are certain times where it doesn't seem like it's all that avoidable, but that's also because I haven't put in the effort to make it avoidable, is the thing. So beyond just the financial side of things, I realize that just the amount of takeout that I eat, like there's so much crap that I'm just putting into my body, and I'm trying to like be more mindful of what I eat and like how much of it, and like also my weight. Like I'm trying to like I've been working out like 3 days a week for the last like 6 months or so, and my weight hasn't really changed. Like I've been able to like tone my limbs more so. So like the weight has been reallocated to other parts of my body, but it hasn't gone down because of the way that I've been eating. So like that's also been a major thing for me. So just over the last few years, that said, like all that stuff said, like as I've been getting myself to like start experimenting with my own cooking and also setting myself up to like cook and eat stuff that is also just better for me while still tastes fantastic. Where did I start? Like, what did I start doing a few years ago? And as I have like this little list jotted down in front of me, I realize the first few things that I went to make, they very much contributed to why like any type of weight loss was not going to be a thing having to do with the food that I was making for myself. Because the first things that I have on my list here, the first three, as like I just went back, um, we have like loaded fries slash loaded baked potatoes, breakfast bowls, and just fried chicken in general. Which again, I'm proud of all the things that I've been able to like successfully make. Let me start with the very first ones because they're really not all that impressive. Like loaded fries, there was nothing from scratch that I would do with that sort of thing. It was literally just me being like, hey, I went to this restaurant and they gave me a plate of loaded French fries, loaded up with like whether it was like ranch and mayo and like cheese, like shredded cheese, like chopped onions, bacon bits, whatever it was, like all these things, and it was delicious. Let me just do that at home. And I did that at home and it was great for maybe all of like a month or so. Made that a few times and I'm just like, wow, I gotta stop making this because as good as it tastes, A, I could just get this somewhere else. B, I'm literally just throwing together a bunch of like store bought things anyway. There's no cook, there's no prep, nothing. And C, this is a lot of garbage that I'm eating, like a lot of it. So, haven't made that in years, scrapped it, but I do have some nice pictures of when I would make it. That's something that I did like doing when I would make something that I really liked the way that it turned out, like the presentation was good. I would take a picture of it. So, I have a lot of those saved. Probably use a couple of them for my thumbnail for this one on YouTube. So moving down the list, and actually really quick, the baked potatoes, like that was the same sort of thing, except that I would just take a potato and toss it into the oven for like a half hour or something like that, let it bake, and then just do the same thing. Just cut it open and just load it up with everything. Again, tasty, but not good for me or whatever. So moving down the list again, like breakfast bowls. This I actually did get from my older brother, and it's something that again isn't. It's a hearty breakfast that I can have every now and then. It's not something that I would make all the time, nor can I because it is kind of time consuming, and it's not exactly something that would be awful for me as long again and as I like stagger it. Like I haven't made this in like a couple of years either, just because of the timing of it, and also just I have other things that I like doing for breakfast nowadays more so. But anyway, it would be like you'd mix in like scrambled eggs, chopped potatoes or hash browns, whatever it is, sausage and bacon. Sometimes it would be one or the other. Sometimes it would be both of them if I was like really, really just feeling like I needed like that much protein or whatever. Shredded cheese, chopped onions on top of that, and all that. And I can't remember if there was anything drizzled on top. I don't think so. But all those things mixed together and like just tossed into a bowl. Again, like something that you can get at breakfast places. And once I started doing that, I was proud of them. Like I thought that they turned out really, really nicely. But again, like I said before, they were time consuming to put together because you have to like prep so many things at once. And again, like just can't have that type of stuff too many times. For me, I would realize I would purchase like a pack of bacon, use a couple of those strips, and then like those bacon strips would just sit in the fridge for a while because I don't really have bacon beyond that sort of thing. Not anymore anyway. So I didn't want to just like have that stuff go to waste. I didn't feel like freezing it. So I was like, don't really need to be doing that. Yes, I could just do that and like scrap the bacon and just use sausage. It's so much easier to cook and prepare sausage than it is bacon, I find. But I was just like, I'll move on. Again, I have other things that I do in the mornings anyway, and I need stuff that's quicker, just in general. Like if I'm getting ready for work, I can't be making that every day, nor should I. And then the last one that I listed before, fried chicken, this was like the worst of it for me. I really, really do love chicken just in general, and fried chicken is every now and then. Like there are points in my life where that feels like a vice. Like I can have it at like anywhere that I go, but making it at home, I think, was what started to kind of turn me away from the frequency that I used to want to have it at because the amount of oil, my God, just got having to like fully deep fry this stuff. Also, prepping it was a kind of a pain. Cooking it, you got to make sure that you're careful with the way that you go about it. At the very least, me, when I'm just doing this stuff at my leisure at home without really following like recipes all that much. Sometimes I do, but not really for certain things that I feel are simple enough. But it was the amount of oil that I would use and the amount of chicken that I would make, and it would literally just be the chicken. I wouldn't really put it with anything. It was like almost as though like I have like my own like KFC or some sort of like chicken place like that in my house, and it was great, and like I would get compliments on that. But no, no, I'm not doing that anymore. Again, I'm like, if I really, really need fried chicken, I just need to be at the right restaurant at the right time. I'm not going to be doing that at home anymore, especially not because I realize that I have so many better ways of prepping chicken, which now brings me to what I do nowadays. So I like doing my chicken two separate sorts of ways. Either I will bake it in the oven, or I'm going to air fry it, and get it to be crispy that sort of way. The baked chicken, again, like that's a callback to what my grandma used to do and what my mom still does to this day. And doing it that way is, I want to say, probably my favorite way to prep the chicken. For one thing, like it ends up being like so much better for me, and the chicken ends up just being like that much more tender and like just like it's juicy as well. Like it's great. Like it doesn't end up drying up unless you get the wrong cut or like you overcook it or something like that. But that's just a matter of watching it at that point. So I really like doing it like that, and when I do, I have to set it with rice again just to bring myself back to my childhood when my grandma would make the food like that. So I'll do that every now and then. Lately, though, I've been doing more air frying my chicken than baking it, just because it ends up being quicker. Um, been using like just these like chicken thighs, like skinless chicken thighs that I've been getting from Aldi. I'll season them, just prep them, clean them, all that type of stuff, and just toss them into the air fryer, both sides, for like 20 to 25 minutes each, and they turned out great. Like that's what's gonna be my lunch or dinner later today. Is just I have leftover chicken from a few days ago that I made that way in the air fryer. So again, I'll put that with rice. Sometimes I'll just have it by itself. Other times I'll have it with like a pasta or something like that. Pasta, actually, to carry myself through, that's been another thing that I've liked messing around with. One of the dishes that I've been the most proud of as far as like how it's turned out was chicken Alfredo that I made. I think I used I think I used fettuccine noodles for that, and like this like roasted chicken that I got, and like broccoli, chopped that into it as well. I was really proud of the way that that one had turned out. That was some time ago, like over the last like 5 or 6 months. And I remember I brought some of that in with me, like leftovers in with me to work one day, and I mentioned it to a couple of my coworkers, and they actually were like interested in that. So I was like, "Hey, you want to sample it?" I let them sample, and both of them were just like, "Wow, this is really really good." And that validation, again, like for me as someone who A doesn't find myself cooking a whole lot, but then B, definitely I don't end up getting to share my food a whole lot. Like sometimes like I end up feeling like too self-conscious about it. I'm just like, this isn't gonna be good. But the only way that I know if it's good or not is by having other people also give me feedback. I'm trying to get better with that too. But getting that validation from two people who had never tried my food before and aren't even related to me, so they had no reason to, they wouldn't really have a reason to lie. And I told them I was just be honest. And they're like, oh, this is good. Could use some mozzarella or something like that. And I'm just like, that's great. I appreciate that sort of feedback. And even if it was bad, again, I would have appreciated the feedback so I can know what to do with it going forward. Yeah, let me see. Like, is there one like any others that I can think of? Oh, the last thing that I want to mention as far as like dishes that I've become really proud of. I don't know if I have a picture of this one, and I haven't made it in a while, but like I said, my grandma used to make stewed chicken, like something that's big in the Caribbean. Like I've started making that myself. It's been a little bit, but man, like that for me, I think that was the one that I got like the most positive response on from my family and some family friends who happened to be around at the same time as well. It was either that or the pork chops, but either way, like both of them, like I made those, and just the smell of it alone, like I remember I had like a few of them coming to me just like, Kanen, what did you make there? What are you making there? Because it smells wonderful. And for me right there, like that's a huge part of it too, because I'm like, eating is like a multi-sensory sort of thing. So I don't want it to just taste good. I also want it to look good. I want it to smell good, and it is a thing. And hearing people say that it smelled that good, that was pleasing for me. So it made me like inclined to keep doing it. And especially like that one kind of resonated because A, again, it was something that my grandma used to make that I really loved, and B, it's something that my family from the Caribbean and like the West Indies, like they will make and like they will really enjoy. So hearing people who are actually from there, even like family or not, but hearing people who are from those areas of the world like complimenting me on how this stuff turned out, that felt good. And I really do enjoy that sort of thing, and I'm looking forward to more of it. Like, I don't see myself being like any type of like master chef or anything like that. I'm not trying to be, but I do, like, I take pleasure in being able to say, like, hey, like, I've gone from someone who used to say I would never be able to like cook properly, again because I was lazy, but even still I would never be able to cook properly, to someone who can say, "Hey, I do know how to cook. I have certain dishes that I could make comfortably," and have people like back me on how they think it is, and like say like if I say like I think that my stewed chicken is good, I've had others who have tried it and be like, "Your stewed chicken is really good," or "Your chicken Alfredo is really good." And I just want to keep doing that sort of thing. Like it's fun for me, and it is another thing to like help me to like pull away from what is familiar, what's become familiar in my life. And that's one of the main things that I've been looking for for several years at this point and continue to aim for. So at the risk of me making myself super hungry not too long after having had my breakfast this morning, I'm going to try and call it here at this point. Definitely not a topic that I saw myself talking about just a few days ago, but it's something that I'm happy to talk about, and I really do want to keep doing more with it. And I'm also, again, playing into my becoming a photographer. I'm gonna keep taking pictures of the stuff that I make when it's the new stuff, or like if I feel like it's a better version of something that I made before. Maybe even if it doesn't look all that good, just so that I can look back and be like, okay, well, what went wrong here? Something like that. That's what I aim to do. So anyway, again, gonna call it here. I know that I tend to ramble at the end of these, but hope everyone stays warm again with the snow falling, and maybe just enjoy watching the snowfall at that. I'm going to do my best this week to get myself back on my regular rhythm. So this is Sunday. I will aim to record another episode in 4 days once Thursday rolls around, just to get myself back on track and see where things continue to go with this whole show. Again, maybe I'll have some actual merch for, again, a show that I'm not being monetized for. So thanks so much again for listening, guys. I will catch you in the next episode. Take care.